we are watching for the potential of a coastal low to track near the Outer Banks and Hampton Roads. So we have preemptively issued a weather impact alert for Sunday. Now, this is as a precaution. If the storm track starts to fluctuate and bring it way less or bring it not as close to Hampton Roads, then we could maybe discontinue this weather impact alert. But right now, the weather impact alert is in effect for Sunday, October the 12th for heavy rain, gusty winds, and tidal issues. Remember, when we have northeast winds in play, that pulls in those higher tides, and that could give us some overwash on those roads. What you need to do at this point is just to stay weather aware. That means watching these forecasts continuously as the forecast track does change. So let's talk about the forecast track and what we know now. Coastal storm this weekend. Of course, we're putting a question mark next to it because things can change. What we know is that there's high confidence that this coastal storm does form. That's not the question. The question is, where does this storm track? Does this storm track, as it showed yesterday from the European model, does it track up through the Outer Banks and then get more inland towards DC area? Or, like it says in this model, it develops off the coast of the Carolinas and then kind of pushes a little bit more to the west and brings it into places like Charleston near the South Carolina, North Carolina border, brings some more rain that direction. This is a newest model update, and it just keeps it right offshore of the Outer Banks. So we're going to have confidence track fluctuations, but right now the confidence in its track is very low. Now, this is also a time of year where we have tropical systems. Will this get a name? I'm thinking maybe not. But regardless if it gets a name or not, we could see basically tropical storm impacts from this system if the track gets closer to Hampton Roads. What you need to know, our main impacts will be heavy rain, gusty winds, and the potential for tidal flooding. But the window of the rain and gusty winds will be anywhere from Saturday through Monday. So it's going to be a prolonged thing, at least a 24 to 48 hour type of system. So something to keep in mind. So let's talk about the tropics. As I just said, that coastal low may or may not get a name, regardless the impacts stay the same. But look at that healthy storm right here near parts of South America. This is our newest named storm as of 11 a.m. today. This is Tropical Storm Jerry. Jerry is a weak tropical storm, 45 miles per hour, actually forecast to become our next hurricane as we get into tomorrow evening. But good news is, just like with a lot of the tropical storms and hurricanes we've had over the course of this hurricane season, making that hard north turn towards Bermuda and then exiting back out to sea. So our impacts from Jerry will be slim to none, which is great. But with the combination of that coastal low plus Jerry, we could have some higher waves and some higher rip current risk heading into the weekend. My main concern when it comes to the combination of Jerry plus that coastal low is what we saw with Imelda and Umberto just a week and a half ago, of all of those houses in the Outer Banks starting to collapse because of the higher surf. Is that a possibility? It is a possibility. So something to keep in mind as we progress over the next about week or so. But we have a lot of time to really nail down this forecast. My recommendation to you is right now, prepare for rain during the weekend, but also stay very close to this forecast, as there will be things that do change.
Okay, and you absolutely nailed it with the fact that we see this path over and over again here in hurricane season 2025. Just making its way up the coastline, but never getting truly within reach of sort of the continental United States.
Right, and I'm grateful for that. I mean, I was worried about Imelda. When I saw that forming, I was like, this looks bad. But Umberto's power just kind of pulled Imelda away due to the Fujiwara effect. So very rare that happens. The last time it happened, the Fujiwara effect was in 2021. So in the Atlantic Basin. So something that is helpful in those situations is it's the power of physics and meteorology. But like you said, Connor, we've had some close calls, but Aaron passed by us just about 300 miles offshore. Imelda was just offshore, had made a hard right turn, and Jerry looks to make that same turn back into parts of the northern Atlantic.
Okay, so Jerry on its way up to the northern Atlantic. We've seen Bermuda get hit by a number of these storms. So obviously thinking about them, a lot of those paths, if it happens to miss us, it does make its way towards Bermuda a lot of the time. So hoping that they are okay through all these storms that are narrowly missing us. Now, I don't want to go too far backwards, but you drew our attention to the arrows when we were discussing the map and the various sort of systems that were coming through. And it was amazing how the arrows directionally so specifically matched up with the type of weather that we were going to get. I mean, originally they were pointing north, which I'm assuming means, and forgive me for my naivete with any of these questions, but that means coming up from the south, it's a little warmer for us.
Yeah.
And then you said we had that front coming from the west, those arrows pointing east, we get that heavy weather, and then all of a sudden those arrows turn downwards, they're bringing stuff down from the north, and boom, it's cold.
Exactly. Exactly. Think about it like this. The further south you go in parts of the hemisphere, the warmer it gets. Closer to the equator, the warmer it is. So you have south winds that's pulling in that really warm air from the south. When you have north winds, it's pulling in that Canadian cold air or northeastern U.S. cooler air. North winds pull in cooler air. That's really a lot of the basics of meteorology, and that will help you really dictate, is today going to be a warm day or is today going to be a cool day?
Right, and I like how you were talking about, what effect did you call it with the two hurricanes?
Oh, the Fujiwara effect. When two storms are next to each other in close proximity, the stronger one will kind of pull the other one away or towards it. So, yeah. And so what happened with Umberto and Imelda is that Umberto was stronger, kind of pulled Imelda. That's why it made that hard right turn. But then Imelda absorbed the energy from Umberto and then hit Bermuda as a hurricane. So
I hope that the viewers at home can notice the contrast between me talking about, like, you're talking about these high-level weather activities that involve physics and interaction. Meanwhile, I'm like, oh, it's kind of cold up north. So thank you for walking me through that in a very sort of understandable way. I never have really paid as much attention to those arrows as I did after you pointed them out, and it was kind of helpful in deciphering the whole thing.
Oh yeah, I love being Taylor the teacher. So anytime,
Taylor the teacher.
Anytime you want a weather lesson about anything, I got you. Well, it's not really say anything, but most things, especially severe weather. Once we get into April and we continue to do live impact news, severe weather season is my bread and butter. Having lived in Oklahoma for years and studying in Oklahoma, tornadoes, hail, thunderstorms, we can get into the nitty gritty if you want to.
Taylor the teacher carries extra meaning because anytime you see a group of students traveling throughout our station on like a tour or a field trip, it's very likely that Taylor is their tour guide.
That's true. That's very true.
It's overwhelmingly likely that you're the one who's kind of conducting that trip there. Now,